everyone, good morning, and thank you so much for investing your time today with us. So today we have a DIH net session during the Fund Continuity Day. I'm Lucy and I'll be moderating this session. I'm a project manager, and today, as you see on the screen, we have a great panel of experts, and we'll talk about how can digital innovation support businesses in terms of COVID. So our goal today is to listen to the experiences of these hubs and identify good practices, and then discuss also how they can help small businesses be more resilient in such crisis. So before we start, I'll give a very short introduction on the DNet project. If you don't know it, it's an EU initiative that aims at supporting the cooperation between from the European Union and to create a sustainable network of initiatives related to digital innovation hubs. So as you see today, we have Aitzane Arabide from a hub in Catalonia. She's business development manager in Leitat. And we have Maurits Butter. He's a senior scientist at TNO, and he's also the project coordinator of DNet. We have Bianca Mundean, who's the cluster manager of the Transilvania IT hub. And then we have Amaya Martinez, who's a strategic initiatives consultant at the SPIN, which is the Basque DIH. But they will introduce themselves and their DIH later today. Yeah, the agenda will start with Maurits, who will talk about the concept, what's the DIH, and how they can help businesses enhance resilience. Then we have each DIH who will present their experience, how they did help small businesses during this crisis. And then we'll have the panel discussion who will be led by Maurits. So just before we start, let me move to the next slide. Yeah, I just want to remind you that we have a Digital Innovation Hub online community, which has more than 600 members now, all from European digital innovation hubs. Yeah, so if you go on the website dnet.eu, you will find the button community. You can just click on it, and yeah, you will then be brought to the community and how to create your profile and how to become a member. And I'm telling you that because all the materials of this webinar will be put there, so you will find the video, the PowerPoints, etc. And now I will move to the next slide and give the floor to Maurits. Maybe you can start sharing your camera, Maurits.
Yes. Good. Well, Lucy, thank you. And thank you also for organizing this event. I think these kind of events, although it's by webinar, and I would love to do this just in person, it is very interesting to have a discussion on these kind of things. You can have a little bit more, and well, you don't see that I'm shaved, so I don't need to shave anymore, and I also don't need to iron my shirt because that's not important anymore. So that's a plus, I would say. So let me very quickly introduce to you the webinar and give a short introduction to digital innovation hubs and the topic we are dealing with today. Yeah, next slide, please, Lucy. So these are the two topics that I would very shortly introduce during my presentation. It is about what a digital innovation hub concept is. I trust that most of you will be familiar with the concept, but I trust also that some of you are not. We've got in the audience both SMEs, I think, and digital innovation hub representatives or competence centers, service providers. And I would also like to introduce, with the points of discussion, a kind of a kickoff of this the discussion to follow. So next slide, please, Lucy. This is the formal definition by the European Commission, which focuses on 4 services that a digital innovation hub can provide. It's test to invest, support to find investments, some activities to strengthen the innovation ecosystem and networking, and skills and training. This is a very important point of departure within the digital innovation hubs, Digital Europe program. So I think it is important to give a little bit more of insight from the DNet also, because we done some work to get more flesh on the bone with this. Next slide, please. And that's before I start telling something about the Digital Innovation Hub, I would like to give it a little bit more contextual surroundings and contextual information. So what we see is, and if you can click, Lucy, what we see is there's several entities within the European Digital Innovation Hub landscape. So we see competence centers, very much focused on the technology, providing technologies to the industry. We see the digital innovation hubs. We see regional networks. Lucy, please click again. Yeah, and we see the pan-European network. So the DNet is a pan-European network, but there's all kinds of so-called innovation actions. There's the Smarties project, which focuses on photonics, and all kinds of other networks that provide support in creating collaboration on a pan-European level. The regional digital innovation hub networks, Amaya is also with that. That's a regional network of competence centers and digital innovation hubs to provide services to their region in order to enhance their activities. And please click. And you can see some kind of a picture here. So the regional networks are connected to the digital innovation hubs and competence centers. The regional networks, for example, through the Vanguard initiatives, can be connected on a European level, but also the innovation actions European networks are there that connect the different innovation hubs and competence centers focused on specific technologies like robotics, like photonics, like IFRMS manufacturing for ICT, like product more innovations from the Smart Anything Everywhere network. So that's a little bit the landscape of what we're dealing with. So if you can click. A little bit more information on the digital innovation hubs. What we see is that we've got 4 different categories of services the digital innovation hubs provide, linked to the definition that the Commission gives. So there's the ecosystem networking. It's about community building. It's about strategy development, ecosystem learning, etc., etc. Test before invest is about the technologies. Usually it's done by competence centers, but it's very much on strategic research and development and innovation, and it's providing infrastructures to the user community, so industry. So that's about the technological service they provide. Finding investments is we translate it to the more business-oriented services, and we can help startup companies with incubator accelerator support, and we organize the development of digital innovation hubs, organize the development of projects. And then there's the skills and training. And if you click, Lucy, 3 times, yes, and another time, please. So here you can see those kind of services a little bit more flesh on the bone. So the incubator accelerator support, it's about voice of customer, market assessment, etc., etc. I'll not go into detail, but here you can see what a digital innovation actual is doing. And click. And looking at the organization of a digital innovation hub, usually it's not a single organization, but more an ecosystem kind of organization, consortium. So there's a central orchestrator which coordinates the collaboration between all different kind of entities, and that can be universities, it can be even industry partners, it can be regional development agencies, etc., etc. They all work together to create an ecosystem that supports the industry in the digital transformation, and that's that coordinating mechanism through the orchestrator towards the industry is very important to connect all the dots of an innovation chain. So from the lower TRL level to the higher TRL level, with supporting all the challenges that SMEs and mid-caps are faced. So that's more or less what my presentation of Digital Innovation Hubs is about. This looks a little bit black and white. It is not, of course. They're all different shades of gray in between. So please also remember that. Now going to the presentation about continuity. Yeah, click. What we have seen is more or less this timeline of the COVID-19. In February, it started already perhaps in January, with leading to the lockdown in, let's say, March. And we are now coping with the lockdown. Everything is going quite well, I would say. And some countries are lowering their lockdown. But phase 3 is the most important phase now. And that's what we're now dealing with. We are dealing with the reboot of the economy. Click, please. So, and that's what this webinar is about. We're looking at phase 3, and for SMEs and mid-caps, it's about what you can do to really reboot your business, and the Digital Innovation Hubs, it's about, yeah, what can you offer to SMEs? That's what this discussion is about. And then click, please. And these are some kind of questions, issues that we can address. So we have had the phase 1, phase 2, but now we're in phase 3, and that's about the running of scans. These are the activities that the Digital Innovation Hubs can do. We can run scans, diagnostics for your competences, initiate new experiments, tools, etc., etc. But these are just my thoughts on what Digital Innovation Hubs can do. And I would like to very quickly go to the attendees to give their presentations on their views. So back to you, Lucy.
Thanks a lot, Maurits. Thanks for this introduction. We'll move now to Bianca. So from the Transylvania Digital Innovation Hub, and she will explain a bit what they do in their hub and how they supported their SMEs during this time.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for the opportunity to speak about how we dealt with the past three months. So Transylvania Digital Innovation Hub, it's located in northwestern Romania. Next slide, please, Lucy. I will tell you a little bit about us. Of course, you might note that the concept of digital innovation hubs, it's not on the same level of development all over Europe. In Central and Eastern Europe, these concepts have been recently developed. Actually, we've started 3 years ago during the Open Innovation 2.0 conference organized in Cluj-Napoca by the European Commission, DG Connect, to get acquainted to this concept and to see how can we activate it for the benefit of our SMEs. We've participated in several training programs to learn about the business model of the DIHs and how can we establish a healthy DIH in our region. Then we've got into several partnerships in the Horizon 2020 program, and we have 2 such projects in which we are supporting our SMEs in funding their experiments using the Cascade funding experiment, but also gaining knowledge from the other DIHs all over Europe. In 2019, we've been recognized as a fully operational DIH by the JRC. And then last year, we've got into a DIH champion final in Madrid, organized by DIH Net. And I will tell you more about how we are organized, because our concept is built on the existing blocks created by the clusters existing in our regions. Next slide, please. So we as Transylvania IT Cluster, because I'm also the cluster manager of the Transylvania IT, we act as orchestrator of Transylvania DIH. But beside us, in the governance structure, we have also the industries and the clusters representing the other industries in our region. And I'm speaking here about the furniture cluster, and then we are having the agricultural cluster, energy cluster, and also the creative industries cluster. This was made because we've succeeded through these structures of cluster to build a very strong community in our region. So we thought that building it up and using these blocks, it will be very useful for the activities of DIH. Next slide, please. So what we are doing, actually, we are involving, of course, our SMEs and mid-caps, also from the point of the solution providing, but also in serving their needs in terms of digital transformation. So I'm speaking here also about the SMEs, part of the other cluster, non-IT clusters. We are working very close with the startups, where we are trying to identify different solutions and the open innovation concepts. Then we are having in our DIH, of course, the academia and research part, which is providing access to their infrastructure, their knowledge, and resources. The public administration is being involved in the creating of the infrastructure and the framework for supporting the activities in our DIH. I told you about the clusters, and also we are using the Living Lab concept, because we've established 2 years ago also a Transylvania Living Lab, and we are using it for running different experiments under the umbrella of DIH. Next slide, please. Of course, we are working in also downstream and upstream in identifying different business models. We are using in our DIHs, based on the competencies we are having in our region, artificial intelligence, big data, cybersecurity, blockchain, high performance computing as technology based in identifying different solutions for the small and medium-sized enterprises, and also for the public administration in our region. We are also working in creating different activities for giving advantage to our SMEs in identifying different business models, new type of values, and also to offer this digital competitive advantage. And we are using the concept of digital society, strategic intelligence, and new global markets. Next slide, please. Now to refer, because I will not speak how we are functioning. Maurice already introduced us in the world of digital innovation hubs. We are using the same building blocks. And to speak more about what we did under the umbrella of Digital Innovation Hub during the times of COVID in the past months. First of all, I have to tell you that if we are referring to the training and skills building block, we were right in the middle of running several technical and soft skills trainings, and we had to take a rapid decision if we would stop that activities or if we rapidly put it online. And we decided to put all our activities online and to put these trainings available online. And we have a very pleasant surprise because we've registered even a higher number of attendees from the employees of our member companies attending our trainings and courses. Also, what we did, we worked in identifying different funding opportunities and also business partners and new markets. I'm speaking in the name of the members of my cluster, of the IT cluster, but also in the name of the companies, members in other clusters, part of the Transylvania DIH. And it was really hard because you might know, and I think we will take it more in depth in the panel discussion, but the industries, the different industries were affected in a different proportion. So while in the IT sector, this was also affected, but in the terms of having less contracts from the industries which actually stopped during COVID, because many of our member companies work on outsourcing services. But rather than that, it was a decrease of 10–15% in their business activity. They were able to run and to continue to run their activities. But it gave us a very good opportunity to start the discussion with the non-IT companies and to offer them advices on how they can use the technology and the digital services in order not to stop completely their activity and to translate their services in online services. Also, we had a lot of discussions with ecosystem and also with the local and public administration in coming up with concrete measures to support the small and medium-sized enterprise. So we've created an economic rescue kit available on our website, which put together all the measures available for the Romanian SMEs during these times. Next slide, please. We've been involved in different local and regional aid campaigns because the public administration, of course, tried to come up with different solutions, but in the private sector, we succeeded to identify more rapid solutions. So it was not a problem for the IT companies or for the furniture companies to start and offering support for the health infrastructure in our country. We've created some resilience platforms where to gather all the requests coming from the health sector and to find solutions to solve their problems. What we also did, we focused more in communicating about the services of our companies, of our member companies, in terms of digitalizing different type of services. We've been involved at the European level in mobilizing the community in EU versus virus competition, and we had a very high participation of Romanian startups and also solutions in the COVID crisis. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I think what these times did was to bring us all together, was to create a better cohesion within our ecosystem and to act like one contact point in gathering, you know, the needs, the challenges, the struggles the SMEs were facing, and working from the other side to bring different type of solution for their support. But I will be more than happy to develop and to speak more concretely with different examples during our panels. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bianca. I will now give the floor to Ainsane from the EIME 3D Hub in Spain.
So, hello to everyone. How are you doing? I don't know if you can hear me properly.
Yes, hi, Ainsane. Well, yeah, we heard you.
Hi. So, good morning to everyone. My name is Ainsane, and it is a pleasure to be with you here today. I hope everyone is okay and dealing as well as you can with the pandemic. I think we only have 10 minutes each, so I'm going to try to briefly explain you what the IAM3D Hub is and what we have been doing lately during this pandemic, as I understand that the debate among all the assistants is going to be much interesting than what I can tell you now. I don't know if you can go to the next slide, please. Perfect, and probably you can go another one more. Another one, please. Perfect. So during the last 20 years, we have seen a growth and development of a global ecosystem of companies related to 3D printing technologies. In Catalonia, we have a clear example with an important number of companies through the whole value chain, as you can see. So we have companies dealing with software, with materials, with manufacturing and 3D printers, with equipment, with 3D printing, finishing, and so on. That's when we realized that the 3D printing technologies were already there. I mean, the R&D part was working, the printers were working, there were companies developing new materials, companies developing new printers that could be able to produce parts in a faster way and in a more intelligent way. So that's when we decided that we needed to go a step forward. And can you change to the next slide, please? Thank you so much. One more, probably. Perfect. So that's when we decided to create the. That's when we decided to create the IAM3D Hub, the International Advanced Manufacturing 3D Hub. That was probably 1.5 years ago. And the idea behind the creation of this hub was to create an agent which only mission was to accelerate the adoption of additive manufacturing and 3D printing technologies in the European industry, as an alternative way to design, develop, and manufacture new competitive products and services. The idea behind the hub was to provide a one-stop shop to all these SMEs to assess, guide, and address all their needs in additive manufacturing technologies. Can you change to the next slide, please? Perfect. So I just have to briefly thank and mention all our founders. It was founded by HP. I'm sure that you know HP. They are producing nowadays plastic printers, though I know that they are developing much more products like that, which is a technological center. Reniso, they are dealing with metallic printers. Then we have 3 material providers, ArcelorMittal, BASF, and Walker. One dealing with the post-producing of these parts, Abrast. And last but not least, we have 3 strategical partners, the 3D Factory Incubator, and then Fira de Barcelona, which is Trade Show Industry. The 3D Factory Incubator is the first and only, as far as we know, well, thank you. Can you go back one before? I wasn't finished yet. Hi, hello, can you change the slide? Lucy? Thank you so much. So the 3D Factory Incubator is, as far as we know, the only incubator dealing with 3D printing technologies in an industrial way. They have nowadays 40 projects incubator, and then I'm sure that you know the trade shows. So we are basically working with them in order to have a great marketplace. Now we can start on how do we help companies adopting the 3D printing technology. So now you can go to the following slide, please. Thank you so much. Probably maybe you can click 5 times, so otherwise it's going to be a bit slow. 1, 2, 3, and one more, please. And there you can stay. So how do we help companies? No, one previously. Perfect, there we are. So how do we help companies adopting the 3D printing technologies? So basically what we provide them is with 4 different types of services. The first of them is experimenting and testing. So basically we help them decide which technology they need, which material they need, and we let them try the technologies in order to be sure that that's what they need, and so on. Afterwards, we go to an end-to-end solution services. What we do there is we help them design and redesign their products. We help them with their floor planning layout, just in case they are one step ahead adopting those technologies. Of course, we help them with money funding opportunities in business and mentoring services activities. And last but not least, because actually that's what we've been mostly doing the last year, is education and training with our IM3D Hub Academy. What we do here is we provide them with trainings on in company, trainings in here with our machines, on hand and more very hands-on training, and also very tailor-made trainings depending on what technology they want to use or what type of workers they have within the company. We can go one step forward, please. Can we change to the next slide? Perfect. So this is going to be a bit difficult with the slide. So Lucy, let's try to communicate. The thing is, how with what equipment are we providing this software, these services? We have a software equipment. Can you press enter, please? We have 2 metal printers. Can you press enter again? 2 selective laser melting environment is so, and I need you to press enter again. This is going to be a bit boring. I'm sorry for the audience. We have a material lab. Enter again. Sorry for that. We have 9 multi-jet printers. Those are plastic industrial printers provided by HP. Can you click enter again, please? Again, sorry for that. We have a post-processing area with many post-processing devices. Can you press enter again, please? We have sandblaster, graphite blasters, and many post-processing equipment that can help you decide which technology we need. And the last enter, I think. Yes, one more. And we, of course, have the data lab, which is for characterization, testing, and validation services. So now the question, what have we been doing lately for the COVID-related problems and products? Can you press enter once again, please? And probably 2 times, twice. One more, please. Lucy, I don't know if it's my connection, but I cannot see the slide on the, but that's it, perfect, leave it there. So basically, what have we been doing lately during those 2 months? I'm sure that you've been reading a lot and hearing a lot about 3D printing technologies during this pandemic. We have had a lot of makers, a lot of companies providing support, providing money, technologies, materials to those makers willing to help the society dealing with this disease. Basically, what we did during those times, we opened an email account and we received more than 5,000 emails with different ideas. Of course, we couldn't attend to everyone, but we were able to help a couple of them producing new products and new devices to help the industry recover from this disease. Basically, I want to highlight 2 projects that we found very interesting. One is the latest one, which is an emergency ventilator. So we developed the first industrially producible emergency ventilator in 2 weeks, thanks to the 3D printing technologies. We were able to have a valid prototype. Then in 3 weeks, it got the approval by the Spanish medical agency. So we were able to produce 400 ventilator devices that are now in different hospitals and UCIs around Spain. And we have stopped producing them already because there's no need, thank God. Anyways, we are ready to restart production as if were needed any days. And the second project I wanted to highlight was the multivent. The multivent is a small 3D printed device that allows a ventilator to attend to patients simultaneously. I don't know if you were aware, but basically the problem that we were facing, at least in Spain with this disease, is that we didn't have enough ventilators. So this small device that was developed in less than 24 hours allowed us to duplicate the ventilator's capacity in Spain. So basically, you can go to the last slide, which is basically thank you. Thank you. I hope it wasn't very messy with the slides. I hope you could follow my presentation. And if you have any questions now or after this presentation, you can always come back to me. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ainsalne. So we'll welcome now Amaya from the Basque Digital Innovation Hub. Amaya.
Hello, good morning to everyone. I'm pleased to be here online. My name is Amaya Martinez. I do work at the Strategic Initiatives Department of SPRI, that is the Business Development Agency of the Basque Government. And from that department, we coordinate the Basque Digital Innovation Hub. So just a few slides about the Basque Digital Innovation Hub and our activity. Next slide, please. As Moritz has mentioned, the Basque Digital Innovation Hub is a regional digital innovation hub. It is a connected network of assets and services. And by assets, we mean equipment, R&D infrastructures, laboratories, pilot plants, etc., that are related to advanced manufacturing. And all this infrastructure is available to companies for training, for research, testing, and validation of different type of technologies. It has been created with the aim of providing industrial companies here in the Basque region, especially SMEs, with local access to the technological capabilities that are necessary to face the challenges of Industry 4.0. Next slide, please. So using one of the slides that Moritz has shown also, our Basque Digital Innovation Hub offers services to SMEs in the 4 major blocks that you can see in the slide. Test before invest, skills and training, access to finance, and also innovation ecosystem and networking. Next slide, please. So the co-members of BDIH that mainly offer test before invest services and skills and training activities also, as you can see in the slide, there are agents from the Basque Science, Technology and Innovation Network. That is, we have based ourselves on the existing capacities in our region and on the existing infrastructures in this network that is composed by RTOs, by vocational training centers, universities, and we have organized them in the 6 technological nodes that you can see in the slide, defining a series of services. So next slide, please. So the services offered by the Basque Digital Innovation Hub can be grouped in these 5 main blocks. On the one hand, scientific and technological advice, such as technological assessment, proof of concept, etc. On the other hand, design, prototyping, and validation of different technologies. And on the other hand, also awareness and training. In other words, SMEs can have a place where they can get advice, where they can test, where they can validate certain technologies or different technological solutions before making an investment and incorporating these technologies in their facilities. So those tests, those validations, those prototypes are based on the more than 100 assets or equipments or infrastructures that we have, and that have gone through an international external evaluation process to really decide their excellence or state of the art to be part of the Basque Digital Innovation Hub. So if you want to know more information about these assets, you can go directly to our website, because all the equipment is described with the technical information and so on. So the rest of the services that are related to support to find investment, innovation ecosystem activities and networking are developed and are offered also with other strategic partners, such as, for example, the 3 business incubator centers that we have in our region that promote entrepreneurship in our region. Also, for example, by the Enterprise Europe Network, in which SPRI is the coordinator of the Basque EN, and so on. Next slide, please. Okay, so today I would like to share with you mainly 2 examples of support activities that we have offered during the pandemic period and that we will offer us also, as Moritz has mentioned, in the very near future to help our SMEs to get better prepared from this crisis. So the first example is called Implantalariac service, or implementers in English, I would say. That is a free service for a very quick implementation of technological solutions in micro-SMEs, freelancers and entrepreneurs. And the second example that I will explain you is called deep dives. There are very technical immersion sessions in BAS Digital Innovation Hub nodes technologies that we will organize from September till the end of the year. Next slide, please. So regarding the first service that is called Implantalariac, so there is a group of implanters that advises the applicants free of charge on the most appropriate technological tools to support the incorporation of specific tools. For example, to be more prepared to achieve more sales when opening, for example, new sales channels through digital media. For example, to attract new customers by promoting the company with target campaigns. Also to interact digitally with customers, to be more efficient, for example, by having means and tools for collaborative work and teleworking. To offer them the possibility also to have the office anywhere with remote access, with tools for telematic meetings and so on. It is this service. It is a very practical, personalized, and adapted service for each micro SME. If you go to the next slide, please, to give you an idea, last year in 2019, this service was offered to more than 1,300 micro SMEs. The most demanded services were the implementation of ERPs or CRM systems in micro SMEs, and the mobile processing or collaborative tasks or electronic invoicing, for example. Here you can see some of the proposed solutions. We have an updated catalog with more than 300 available tools to be used by micro SMEs, and they are grouped in these 9 areas that you can see in the slide. Such as solutions, for example, for working with other and security, for storing and sharing information, for positioning on the internet, for online sales, etc. This service, it is not new. It was defined, I would say that more or less 10 years ago, something like that. And as you can imagine, every year we update the offered tools. And since last 2 years, we have also included some solutions to transform micro SMEs into Industry 4.0 with some tools related to, for example, augmented reality, virtual reality, additive manufacturing, etc. Next slide, please. What happened with this service in COVID crisis? So, well, as you can imagine, we had a very strong increase in company applications, so much so that I show you in the table the number of requests that we have received per day. So you know that in Spain, the state of alarm was declared by the government on March 14th. And here you see the daily request in March, on the 20th of March, that we received 91 requests. On the 23rd of March, there was also a peak with 72 requests. And already in April, they were decreasing, but if the daily average last year was about 3 or 4 requests by day, you see that the need that has been in this period. So in the first 2 months of the crisis, we received almost half of all the requests that we received last year. Next slide, please. So as you can see, the 80% of the requests that we have received have come from micro SMEs, 27% of freelancers, and the rest of micro SMEs. So this service has historically been available only to companies with less than 30 employees. And yes, in this period, we have opened this service to to all type of SMEs, and we have had requests from SMEs of more than 20 employees also. Next slide, please. So here, that's it. Here you can see the distribution of applications by sector, being the 28% of all the requests coming from industrial sectors or services related to industry, such as some engineering or industrial equipment installers. And also we had a lot of requests coming from micro-SMEs that offer, for example, legal or administrative services, etc. Next slide, please. And finally, just to give you some information of the most implemented technological solutions. As you can see, tools for virtual communications, that is virtual meetings, virtual assistants, virtual training, etc. Also remote access tools for having remote access to equipment or to systems. Also tools for collaborative works, for sharing documentation, and simultaneous and synchronized access to all information. And also there has been a lot of demand of efficient and safe management with tools to implement digital signature, for example, security practices, and so on. And in the last period, we have noticed in the recent weeks a decrease in the number of requests, but it is still much higher than in other years, and there is a concern in companies and a need to digitize certain organizational process. So if you go to the next slide, that's it. So the second example that I would like to share with you, plan for the third period or third phase that Maurice has mentioned, it is what we have called the deep dives. That are very technical immersion sessions to understand much better the technologies related to digitization. They are very practical with testing demonstrations, so in real use cases. They are also very proactive and hands-on, because the technicians will directly work with the different equipment, with the different assets that I have mentioned before of each node. And they are very interactive with a specific time slot to share and to analyze individually with the attendees to these sessions possibilities of these technologies to be incorporated in their processes. And next slide, please. So all of these sessions will have a common structure, but they are sessions to really delve into technologies aimed mainly at technical personnel of companies, with a small number of participants and taught by senior staff of the Basque Digital Innovation Hub with a lot of expertise that have implemented this type of solutions in companies from different sectors. If you go to the next slide, I will show you some of the deep dive sessions that we have planned for September and October related to the different technologies that I have mentioned before. These sessions will also be supported by a new funding program that will facilitate incorporation of these technologies in Basque companies. At least this program will cover the dedication of expert staff from the Basque Digital Innovation Hub in the analysis of a possible solution and the testing or development of the first proof of concept or prototype using the Basque Digital Innovation Hub equipment. Next slide, and I will finish. I have added just 2 slides of an example of the deep dive in flexible and collaborative robotics that will be focused in 2 specific applications, as you can see, processes that need manipulation of pieces or robot mobility, and polishing and finishing processes. Based on the need of each 2 applications, we will show 3 alternative technological approaches based on the assets that we have in the Basque Digital Innovation Hub. If you go to the next slide, here you can see the different assets that will be used in each session and the main characteristics of them. So with this type of very technical sessions, we want to bring these technologies closer and closer to companies, and also analyze their needs, and also leave in some space to propose specific solutions. So if you go to the next slide, but it's the last one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is everything from my side. So if you have any question, I will be more than happy to answer. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Amaya. Thank you so much. We'll move now to the panel discussion. So I will stop sharing my screen and I'll ask all panelists to turn on their camera. And Maurits, the floor is yours to moderate this discussion.
Yes, thank you. Those were great presentations, and I think there's going to be a lot of questions from the audience. I hope so, because that's always very important to get those questions from the audience. They are the ones that are dealing with some issues and want to have help with their business. So I can ask the panelists all kinds of questions, because I've got them, but I would like to ask the audience to just ask the questions to the panelists if possible. And we can do that through the chat, but you can also just click on the sound and ask your question. So that would, I think, preferred. So who can I give the floor?
Yeah, Maurits, we only have 10 minutes for this panel discussion. You can start maybe with the first question, and if they are from the audience, I will pass them on to you guys.
So then no questions from the audience?
There is just one that just arrived. Are the DIH available online remotely for companies that are not based on the same territory? So that's an interesting question. Maybe Maurits, you can start answering that.
Can you repeat that, because I don't see the question?
Yes, are the DIH, is the Digital Innovation Hub available online remotely for companies that are not based on the same territory?
Well, you asked the question. Amaya, can I ask you?
Yeah, of course. I would say that, of course, if any company that is not here in the Basque region would like to contact with us, of course, they could contact us, and we will see how we could offer them possible solutions remotely. So yeah.
And Bianca, I'm sure that's going to be the same for you. I think digitalization as a digital innovation hub, you need to be present on the website.
Online.
Online. Yeah. Can I ask you also, how did the COVID crisis had impact on your digital innovation hub? What did you actually change in your organizational structure? Because that's what this question is also about.
Yes, of course. It also had some advantages, if I might say so, this crisis, because we didn't have any choice, rather to identify how can we digitalize a lot of our services and our processes. And that forced us to be more active, more present. I must tell you that I'm sure it was the same for all of you, but it was the busiest time ever during the past 3 times, working more than 12 hours per day, as receiving calls from the companies, also being in contact with the national administration, European administrations, attending all kinds of online meetings, and then trying to solve the problems. So for us, it forced us to switch even more rapidly, because, as I told you in my presentation, the trainings were foreseen to take place offline. And we didn't think to have, an online training platform for that. And the crisis forced us to rethink our way of presenting our services for the SMEs, and it speeded up all the process.
Santa, can I ask you, because I talk with some SMEs, and they are struggling with connecting to their customers. And can you tell me how you did that? How your organization enabled the connection or supported the connection to your customers?
Yeah,
Well,
Santa, please. Sorry, Bianca.
don't worry.
so if I understood well, the question is how we help companies get connected with their customers, or how we were connected to our customers?
Both.
Both. So basically, we didn't help the companies in our ecosystem to get connected to their customers, as we are not an ICT digital innovation hub based technology. So basically, we are helping them adopting 3D printing technologies, which doesn't have a lot to do to get connected to people. I mean, we are not like the digital innovation basque country, for instance, or like Bianca, for instance. So basically what we are doing is just helping companies adopting these technologies. So what I can tell you is how we were connected to our customers, which are the companies adopting these technologies. With those, it was easy because we already know them. They already know us. I mean, they have our telephone numbers, our email addresses. They don't come only from Barcelona. So we are quite used to get in touch with them using remote tools. The thing is that we realized that we had different customers that we didn't know before, such as hospitals or pharmacies or people needing end products, 3D printing end products. And we weren't used to getting in contact with those kind of entities. So it wasn't a question of how we got in contact with them. The question was, how did we get to know where they were and who they were? So that was pretty difficult, but it didn't have actually nothing to do with the pandemic, but with the change of customers, I would say. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yeah. So those customers. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question from one person from the audience, from Amaya. We have developed several hardware IoT AI prototypes and MVP. Is the DIH the right place to be supported in order to develop a go-to-market strategy by finding funds, production sites, and customers?
I would say that in that case, in order to analyze, for example, the possibility to put in the market a new possible product, I would say that here in the Basque region we have like public support programs that support the companies in that market analysis, in that definition of the best way to put that product in the market. So yeah, if it is a Basque company, of course, we have a specific support programs to support the company in that activity also. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you much.
I see also a question now on Spulu Works. Perhaps I don't know which country that it is in, but they are asking for support to perhaps develop a innovation hub on their manufacturing process digitization, and they are asking if they could be supported with establishing such a digital innovation hub. And I'm sure that there's going to be some opportunities. I don't know in which country Spulu Hub is positioned. Do you know, Lucy? Can you see by?
No, I cannot have access to this information.
Okay, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of digital innovation hubs in the region or in other regions where there's a similar kind of technologies addressed that they can be helped. So just get in contact with DNet and then we'll refer you to that. And it can, because I'm
also sorry.
Yeah, please, Maya, please.
Sorry, Moritz. I would also add that I think, of course, that in most of the regions will have there will be a specific digital innovation hub to support this company in that task. But if it is not, I'm sure that each digital innovation hub that have contacts at European level with other digital innovation hubs. So perhaps the one of that specific region cannot support it, but I'm sure that they will have other European contacts that could help that company in that specific area.
Yeah. In the upcoming new European Research or European Regional Development Fund, the ERDF, there will be money available to support the setting up of these kind of digital innovation hubs. Sure, the region must connect to that, but that's going to be an opportunity.
Yes, they just answered that they were from Czech Republic. And I have another question from, yes, I have another question for Amaya. What was your finding about the readiness of companies to invest into digital solutions during the COVID crisis? What type of services were most asked? What was your finding?
Yeah. I would say that all the activities related to telework, they were the specific needs that they had. So all the tools for virtual communications with clients, for virtual meetings, virtual assistants, and so on. That was the first demand. And also, I would say all the related activity to the cyber security and to implement security practices in their activity, in their virtual activity.
So that was a bit the phase 1 and phase 2, perhaps.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at phase 3. Bianca, can you tell me, what do you think are the most important problems for SMEs that they're facing for preparing for the reboot, the economic reboot?
Yeah, it's depending of the different sector of activities, because we have, you know, the tourist sector, which was highly affected, and also the services sector, the event organizer industry. So I think that depending on the type of activity, their needs are quite different, because there are sectors which need maybe support for restarting their activity slowly. Even in the IT sector, we cannot see, for example, giving up at telework. They are still working offline and encouraging, at least by the end of the year, not to come back to the offices. And there are some sectors which can be supported with different measures in digital transformation and in using opportunities offered by technology in order to rethink their businesses. Some other, it will be harder for them to be supported. And of course, the situation is also different from country to country. And what we are trying to do in our Digital Innovation Hub is to see at all levels what type of support is needed at the local, regional level, and what is being offered by the local, regional, national, and then the European authorities, and to make these opportunities available and accessible for the small and medium-sized enterprises. Because this type of uncertain, we are living some uncertain times. We cannot know when this will end. So we have to work a lot on the resilience part and to be prepared to offer different type of support services to our SMEs.
And that's,
thank you, Bianca.
And that's,
I'm sorry, Maurits, we have to conclude here. I will give you the last word.
Okay, Lucy.
Yes, so thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, Maurits, I will leave you the last word to conclude, but yeah, we have to end here.
Yeah, I think the COVID crisis and the reboot of the COVID crisis is still it's still very much ongoing, and I think as digital innovation hubs, we still are not there to come up with a very structured approach to help the SMEs. But we need to get in contact with those SMEs. Those SMEs need to get in contact with us, and we within the DNet will try to organize a more structured approach and help the digital innovation hubs to anticipate on the future. So that's something that we can leave with, and I hope to see you all again soon, especially in the event, during the event in November. there's going to be an event in Luxembourg to kick off the European Digital Innovation Hubs, and you're all invited. 9th, 10th, and 11th of November. Thank you.
Maurits. See you all on the
Okay.
funding, the DNet community, where we'll post all the results of this webinar. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.